Jay Hamilton here at the annual meeting of ALEC, Austin, Texas, here with Hans Sparkovsky, a legal expert at the Heritage Foundation. You've been conducting a number of workshops and talking to state legislators about a number of issues. Let's talk about redistricting, the census, and some of the things you were just filling them in on.
Sure. Well, everyone knows the annual decennial census next year will start getting conducted in April. And of course, what happens after that is state legislatures all over the country have to redraw the political boundaries of not just their state legislative seats, but also congressional lines. And that's a lot of work. It was kind of interesting because in a room packed with legislators, only a small handful had been through this before. Most of them are new legislators. They weren't here 10 years ago when this was done. So this is all brand new to them. And one of the things I recommended, Jay, was that in the past, state legislators have used total population numbers from the census when they do redistricting. I think that's fundamentally unfair because it includes lots of people who aren't citizens, including people who are here illegally. And one of the recommendations I made to them was that they use citizen population when they're drawing lines.
And this sort of dovetails with Trump wanting a citizenship question on the census forms.
Right.
And go over real quickly.
Yeah, the Trump administration a year and a half ago announced it was reinstating a citizenship question. Now, this was painted as if it was something new. It wasn't. The first citizenship question appeared on the U.S. Census in 1820, recommended by Thomas Jefferson, the president at the time. Anyway, lawsuits were filed saying that, oh, you can't do that, you can't have a citizenship question. The Supreme Court issued a decision at the end of June, at the end of its term, that was 2/3 right and 1/3 wrong. They said, yeah, it's constitutional to ask that question. Second, they said, yeah, the administration has the authority to put a citizenship question on there. But they said, you didn't give a good enough explanation as to why you want that question on there. So you'll have to go back to the lower court and do that. Well, by then it was too late. There was a deadline for getting the census form finalized because they have to print literally.
And physically printed.
Physically printed, hundreds of millions of copies. So what the Trump administration did instead is the president issued an executive order saying, okay, there's not going to be a citizenship question on the census, but federal agencies, everybody from the Department of Homeland Security to Social Security, they have citizenship information on about 90% of the U.S. population. So he ordered that all of the federal agencies with that kind of information provide that information to the Census Bureau. So the Census Bureau will take that information from administrative records and coordinate it with the records, the information they get from citizens, from U.S. residents who actually fill out the census form.
10 years ago, everyone was lumped into the count.
Yes.
There's no separation of citizens and non-citizens.
Correct.
With this going forward and trying to get just citizens, how does that change perhaps congressional districts?
Well, think of it this way. Congressional districts the populations have to be as equal as possible. The Supreme Court has said that. Well, look, if you have two districts and they each have 100,000 people in it, but in one district, only half the people are citizens. And in the other district, they're all citizens. Well, the people who are in the district where they're all citizens, their vote is only worth about half that of the other district. So by using citizen population, ensuring that the number of citizens is equal in each district, that is fundamentally more fair than the kind of system we have now.
And for the political parties, it seems to me that the Republican Party may actually get numbers that will help it gain a little more power politically?
Well, probably, because, to give you an example of this, there's like 2 congressional districts in California, these are Democratic districts, where only about 40% of the people are citizens. So if you actually have to fill in citizens there, yeah, it may give an advantage to Republican legislators, but the point is it's fundamentally unfair to citizens to dilute their vote by including non-citizens when you're drawing lines.
So this particular count coming up, we've decided it's going to be a similar count than 10 years ago, or are we trying to get citizenship?
No,
and these new numbers being included?
No, the Census Bureau is saying they're going to have citizen data on the entire United States through both the census and through the administrative records they're going to be getting. So legislators will have the ability to use citizen population when they're drawing boundaries.
I'm sure there are going to be some legal challenges.
There probably will be. Yes.
You're going to be a busy person. But Hans, I appreciate you coming to the
thanks for
annual
having
meeting and updating all the legislators on what's coming up.
Sure thing.
Take care now.
All right, thanks.